This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a moderate breeze out of the south-southwest, mostly sunshine and 84. Partly cloudy skies tonight, about the same at 79. Tomorrow, mixture of some sun and very light rain and a gentle breeze right around 12 miles per hour with a high of 84. The same at 84 Thursday, and we'll have some clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Experience a higher level of service. David Adamson Designer Jewelry has been providing you the very best of fine jewelry and repair in Lynn Haven for over 32 years. David has added Amber Anderson and Russ Klinger, names you've known and trusted in PCB for years with your fine jewelry and watch needs. Find that one-of-a-kind engagement ring, that special anniversary gift, or something colorful just for you. Amber and Russ will find it or build it for you, serving Bay County and beyond in Lynn Haven at the corner of Ohio Avenue and 9th. David Adamson Designer Jewelry.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay-down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Golf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Tuesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 down in Port St. Joe along that beautiful Forgotten Coast. It's getting warm out there. Feels like we're about to have our, stay inside for the next 90 days or so before it starts getting cool again. But hey, it's Florida. We actually had a winter this year, so, beggars can't be choosers. When we have snow in the ground in January, and then we have 90-degree temperatures in May, it's just kind of what we signed up for when we moved down here. But you can also
Definitely the snow, right?
Definitely, that's why we moved here, was for the snow, or the lack of snow, we should say. But, every, what was it, 15 years or something like that? It was, or maybe it was more than that. I think it was
there's some people that say
early
that
90s
it snowed a little bit in Lynn Haven in 1993, but I would say the last time that you had snow amassed, there was a blizzard in 1989.
That's it, 89.
Yeah.
89. I know everybody was talking about that, obviously, when the snow event was happening this past January. But you can download our free mobile app if you like T-shirts, or you want to take us wherever you go with your phone. That is the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search up 104.3, and you'll find it right there in your search engine. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com, click that Listen Live button if you should. But while you're there, you need to sign up for Scorpion TV. We got it on right now in 2 TVs here in the studio and behind the glass, checking out what's going on the Pat McAfee Show. You can do the same, and you can save serious cash on what you're paying right now if you sign up for Scorpion TV. Just go to ESPNPC.com, scroll just slightly down to the top of the page there, click that banner ad, and follow the prompts to sign up for Scorpion TV. Using code ESPNNW, it's only going to cost you about $45 a month. That's over 5,000 streaming channels on demand, over 10,000 movies on demand as well. And you know the deal with David. He'll hook you up with a sweet prize should you watch and document every one of those 10,000 movies.
Let's go. Get it done. I need movie reports.
That's
sort of
it.
like a book report.
Yeah. The cliff notes of all the 10,000 movies there on demand.
Quotes highlighted in yellow. I need some real research.
Yeah, I need
We're
to
just
work.
making this harder and harder and harder.
Yep, absolutely. For that huge monster prize that we are giving out for the 10,000 movies. Again, Scorpion TV, ESPNPC.com. If you do already, we appreciate it very much. But if you don't, you want to check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube pages. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. We are streaming live every day. Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1, and of course the afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m. That'll be a little abridged the next few days. We'll talk about the Braves schedule here a little bit later on the show. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Best of Bay Boating will start on June 2nd. Make sure you're paying attention for that. I'll make sure I put that out on our Facebook page, my own Facebook page, all that good stuff, as we're trying to go back to back for radio personality here on the Inside Drive. And again, we cannot do that without y'all voting. So we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. All those wonderful things. All right, we got a good show lined up for you today. We got Doc A coming up at 11:20. Looking forward to talking to him about the Pacers situation right now and all the weird things kind of going on surrounding all that. The New York Knicks fan that's, or the Pacers fan that's going to be flown out to the game that was
Firefighter.
Yeah, firefighter. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just you don't mess with people like that, but you don't disrespect other people, especially in your be a con. And I get it. They're New York fans.
Knicks first.
Knicks first.
Knicks
That's right.
come first. I don't care where you're from. No.
Everything else is behind that, but. Let's see. Oh, yeah, thanks, Dustin. He said Arnold looked good against Mariana last night, particularly in the defense, and appreciate the kind words there, Dustin. But, yeah, Arnold had their spring game yesterday evening, and I know a bunch of the Beach Marlins got out there for it yesterday. We had a basketball game and 2 volleyball games last night, so not slowing down anytime soon, although school comes to an end next week here in Bay County on Wednesday. So be careful. The roads will obviously open up a little bit in the morning with the school traffic not being there, but it is summertime here in Bay County, so we know that'll open up a lot of traffic for all over our area. Speaking of high school sports, one team still remaining, the other team with a heartbreaking loss last night, and I'm referring to, I think we already talked yesterday about the South Walton Seahawks cruising in their state semifinal game. They actually had to call it a little bit early because they were up so much. South Walton won 17-2 over Hernando, and they will be taking on in the state final today in the 3A state final for baseball. They will be taking on Miami Springs. Assuming they're out of Miami. It says 4 p.m. on the FHSAA website. I'm going to assume that's Eastern time, and it hasn't converted for me here for the Central Time Zone. So it's either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. But check it out. It'll be live on the FHSAA, or excuse me, the NFHS I think that's what it is, app there. I think it's
NFHSAA, right?
Well, that.
Oh, no,
that's
NFHS.
National.
I'm just combining them both.
Yeah, which they should do that. It would make.
But the N is national, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you can.
NFHS.
I've watched hockey games from my high school hockey team in the playoffs on that. It's actually pretty. You can, as long as the people are doing the work to get it broadcast, which I think almost all state playoff tournament games and stuff like that, or I don't know if they're required to be broadcast, but you can find a lot of them out there, which is pretty cool. But yes, South Walton will be taking on Miami Springs. Can South Walton do it? We've been talking about it all year. They have a great team. They are on the precipice right now of winning the 3A state championship. So good luck to the South Walton Seahawks. And on the flip side of that, the Arnold Marlins historic season, their first time ever making to the Final Four, came to a tough end last night. And it started with Eli Blair, I think, only seeing 2 batters in that game before suffering. I was watching the news last night, before suffering a dislocated shoulder.
Oh,
so
terrible.
So not only did he only face 2 batters, he had to come out of the game as a batter too as well. So Cooper Moss, obviously not prepared to pitch in that game, at least from the get-go, had to step in and did a great job keeping everybody at bay from the American Heritage team. But just Arnold just couldn't really get the bats going a little bit later in the game. American Heritage started with a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Arnold answered with 2 more runs in the top of the third, with the game-leading run being thrown out at home, which proved to be costly down the road. No more runs were scored all the way through the 7th. It went into extra innings. Top of the 8th, Arnold wasn't able to get any runs in, and then American Heritage got a couple guys on base and hit a base hit between the first baseman and the second baseman and walked off for their opportunity to move on to the state final, and they will be playing Mulberry, which was an upset on the other side. They beat Jesuit 3-2. That's the thing about, when you're in these magical runs and you have these good teams and you make it to the state finals, it doesn't take away anything that you didn't. What's the overall goal? To hoist the trophy at the end. It doesn't take away anything from all the success you had throughout the entire season, but in that moment, you have heartbreak because you were obviously wanting to win that game and go on to the state final and try to, make even more history. But I always tell people when you get to the championships or you get that close to the championships and you end up losing, especially in heartbreak fashion, don't let that take away from what you did all season long. All the hard work, all the triumphs, all the comeback wins, all the amazing records broken. So congratulations to the Arnold Marlins on a fantastic baseball season this year. And Coach did a wonderful job. And I'm sure they'll be right back to obviously losing 2 key players with Eli and Cooper heading over to University of Florida in the fall. So good luck to them as they continue their journey. But I know Coach is going to have that team reloaded and back ready to go next season. So always good for Bay County. Multiple teams had some runs. I know Bozeman came up a little bit short, but they've been there year in and year out, it seems like. I know Jeff Patton is officially retired. Unbelievable career over there at Bozeman. On the softball side of things, the North Bayhaven Bucks, they will get their state semifinal game underway a little bit later on. It's either 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Again, I don't know if it's Eastern time there or Central time.
It's a game we played.
It is.
On Max Preps, it was 7 p.m. for Arnold and American Heritage, but that was actually 6 our time, so it is one of those. I'd imagine if you know where they're playing, just that's the time zone that they're utilizing.
That's what I'm going to go with, especially given the other game is at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
That'll make sure it definitely won't be 7 p.m. So probably, it'll be 7 p.m. here in our Central time zone. But good luck to the North Bayhaven Buccaneers as they take on Westminster Christian in the state semifinal for 2A. If they end up getting through in that one, which I think they're going to, I feel good about the Bucks making a deep run and potentially getting a state championship coming back. They'll take on, if they win, the winner of Calvary Christian and Trinity Catholic. Looks like the old charter school from right here in Bay County is surrounded by a lot of Christian private schools.
Yeah.
And, you guys know how I feel about that whole situation. So.
The path to the championship runs through Christian schools pretty much every
year.
Sport.
Runs through those schools that you have to pay a tuition to go to. And you can offer free tuition to players you want to participate on your particular sporting teams. Whatever it may be, but, I don't know if that's really too fair, but It is what it is, as they always say. And if you play the game and win it, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You can take it to them. But good luck to the North Bay Haven ladies softball Buccaneers as they try to continue this journey and play at least one more game after tonight. Well, it wouldn't be at least. Play one more game after tonight. Some NFL news coming out of different things. Sources, the NFL to allow players to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics.
Yes, sir.
It isn't official yet, but a vote on whether the NFL players will be allowed to participate in flag football at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics is expected to pass at Tuesday's league meeting in Minneapolis, sources told ESPN's Adam Scheffler. The resolution needs to be approved by at least 24 of the 32 team owners. The league will then negotiate with the NFLPA, Olympic officials, and national governing bodies on the specifics of letting NFL players participate. The resolution on Olympic flag football participation is one of multiple items expected to be voted on this week. Owners will also vote on the Green Bay Packers' proposal to ban the controversial tush push. I'm going to get into what they've amended in that here in just a second. And the Detroit Lions' proposal to reseed playoff teams based on the regular season record. But sources told Scheffler that those votes are not expected until Wednesday. Also, although the fate of the tush push and playoff reseeding remains uncertain as of Tuesday morning, a source told Scheffler the passing of the resolution on the Olympic flag football participation should be easy. David Hayes.
Yes, sir.
Question for you.
All right.
I'm assuming they play 5 like they do in the Pro Bowl and NFL flag and all that stuff. So 5 players to represent the United States of America on a flag football team. I know that's kind of putting you on the spot. I haven't thought of it really yet myself, so I was going to kind of think of it too.
All right, well, I'd probably go with Tua to be the quarterback because he can't get a concussion in flag football.
Never say can't. Never say can't. He'll trip or something, and he's very accurate as well.
No, let's see. I mean, the obvious, I think everyone would throw Patrick Mahomes out there, but who knows if that's going to be the case, you know? I'm trying to look up at flag football Olympics if it's 7-on-7 on 5-on-5. No, it'll be 5-on-5.
Okay, that's what I thought. Fast paced. Do you think? Well, let me say this first. Do you think any of the actual United States adult flag football national team participants will be able to make the USA flag football team?
Wait, like the real flag football
players? The actual
players?
people that just play flag football.
With NFL players coming in?
That's my question.
No. I don't think so. I think they might. What was the guy's name? Daryl Doucette. That was the quarterback who had an issue with it. Maybe they'll, give him a participation.
Maybe he'll be the QB2 out there.
Yeah, he'll be the captain of the team that doesn't play.
He'll be their B team.
Let's see. I would go with Lamar Jackson at quarterback.
That's who I'd have.
Because then if anything happened, or if you had another quarterback on the roster, you could throw him at wide receiver to do some wide receiver passes.
Yep.
I'd go with Lamar Jackson, Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Let's see. I need someone who could play. Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Ooh, right off the jump. I like it. I hadn't even played a snap in the NFL yet, and he's made the flag team.
Hey, but he's two-way,
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, that's a good point, too, because a lot of these guys will play both sides. I don't know.
There's 10 total players.
Okay. So you could have an offense and a defense.
Yeah, but they won't do that. I mean, they're going to get guys who could play both ways.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So I've got Tyreek Hill. I've got Travis Hunter. I need to get someone who gets under people's skin but plays the game the right way. It almost makes me want to go get C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I believe he'll be – who's he going to be playing with? The Saints, I think, this year.
I think that's right.
So C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Tyreek Hill, Travis Hunter, Lamar Jackson was us. I need a shifty guy who can come out of the backfield. I'm not necessarily going to go with Christian McCaffrey because I'm not. If I'm the 49ers, no way.
You ain't playing flag. You ain't tearing your Achilles again, or not tearing, but having double Achilles tendonitis.
So then at that point,
about like a Jameer Gibbs or Saquon Barkley.
Oh man,
there's so many players.
It's Saquon or Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah,
give me both of those guys.
Who are they going to how are they going to narrow it down? I guess is my biggest question. While we're still talking about this, give us a call 850-215-6290. Let us know who would be your 5 players on the flag football team for the United States of America, assuming it does pass. But it sounds like all things are making it expected to pass. Because why not? Why not? The NHL guys, I think, are back playing in the Olympics too. So who do we got on the line there, David?
We've got Blake. Blake, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Blake?
Oh, man. Can't complain.
I hear you.
Can't complain. How are we going to leave Jamar Chase off there?
Ooh, yeah, good point. What about what do you go with a guy like Xavier Worthy, who doesn't have a ton of experience in the league, but is arguably probably the fastest guy in the league?
I mean, I think me and you would know pretty well.
You go with the Jamar Chase, who was a 5-star DB and wide receiver.
Yeah, both sides of the ball, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, there's so many names. Like Justin Jefferson,
Yep.
Do you pair them back up? Do you go with Joe Burrow instead of Lamar Jackson there because you have that available
Chemistry,
option?
yeah.
I mean, like you were saying, whittling down to 10 is insane.
Yeah, it is. How do you is there going to be a tryout? Like, what's this going to look like? Go ahead, Blake. Sorry to interrupt you.
If you want to get under somebody's skin, you got to use George Pickens, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah, but I want people who are still, they're not going to bicker with the team either.
That's true.
All right, then you got to go CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, okay. Yes, CeeDee Lamb is very much so a worthy.
Just bring back Antonio Brown.
Dude.
You know, he was stirring things up this past weekend, so might as well get him back.
The weapons stay at home, though.
Yeah. I don't think the Olympic Village likes.
You can bring guns, they just need to be attached to your arm.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, man, I'm going to hang up and listen.
No, appreciate you throwing some names in there for us. Doc A said Christian McCaffrey, but David, I agree with you on that one. I think the Niners would not let him play in that situation because, I mean, you're running freely, and that's a non-contact injury that's going to happen in flag football. But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, is there really any international players in the NFL?
Yeah, there's definitely some. But I don't think that you see them as much in the skill positions as you do in the trench positions.
Yeah.
Like Mailata, right, from the Eagles. He's from either New Zealand or Australia.
Let's see. We've got... this is not concise like I wanted it to be. Oceania. Oh, yeah, the Polynesians and the Samoans. Those are your, like you said, those are your big guys playing in the trenches.
Tua? Well, I guess technically he's not foreign, though.
He was Hawaii. Oh, Tua Tagovailoa. Maybe his brother tries to make it, too. I don't know. Are they going to allow college players? I mean,
the well is already so deep.
It's already so deep. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. NFL rosters feature over 25 foreign countries, including Canada, Australia, Nigeria, Germany, Jamaica, and the list goes on. Jordan, that's who you were talking about, right, from Australia?
Yeah, Jordan Mailata.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, these guys, you got to watch it. I mean, rugby players aren't going to matter too much in flag, except if they're really fast. Because you can't run over anybody or hit anybody real hard. I mean, you can bump them a little bit, but
I was thinking it would be cool to have, like, a benefit around here where you have, like, a 7-on-7 tournament from all of the high schools, but you break them down into positions too. So you would have your offensive and defensive linemen create a team of 7.
Yeah,
and then
I saw something in it was some 7-on-7 thing where it was a team of purely, it was 12U and they were all 12 and it was purely defensive linemen.
Yeah,
and they're just so much bigger than all the other kids that they're just throwing it up and catching it up top and all that. So I mean, could work. That's a good idea though.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Have like a little fundraiser, raise money for all of the schools somehow, and
little BDS
or do like an alumni one, because you probably would have to do it in the summertime. You could do it on the beach if you wanted to kind of make it more of this is about fun and not about a competition. But there will be a trophy at the end. Or just do alumni. I don't know. There's a way that we could get a whole bunch of people from supporting the schools and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. It'd be kind of fun. Get people come back from the NFL and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The few people we do have that made it to the NFL from this area. The Cleveland Browns are setting the stage for a 4-way quarterback battle, with Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Shedeur Sanders all in the mix for the QB1 spot. The team will run 2 passing camps during team activities into mandatory minicamp and possibly into training camp, per Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot. The drills will be broken up into Pickett and Gabriel, number 1 and number 2, Flacco and Sanders, number 3 and number 4, simply based on how they were acquired. In regard to Flacco and Sanders sharing the 3rd and 4th reps, Sanders may occasionally take first reps, but Flacco's 17 years of NFL experience gave him a firm grasp of the system. Meanwhile, Sanders needs every snap he can to learn the offense, build timing with his receivers, and adjust to the speed of the pro game. The Browns open their season on September 7th against the Cincinnati Bengals and are determined to be on a stronger note than last year's collapse. Cleveland kicked off last season with a 1-6 record behind Deshaun Watson, who returned from a shoulder injury but struggled to regain form. The team ultimately never recovered and finished 3-14. Speaking of Shedeur Sanders, he's officially signed with the Cleveland Browns. He signed his NFL rookie contract worth $4.6 million with $447,380 of that being a signing bonus. Obviously, he was selected in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns, so he is officially signed there with the Browns. Got some more NFL news we'll dive into it a little bit later on. We got to take a break. We got to get Doc Alexander, Doc A, on the line here in just a moment. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I told you this would work.
It's the Best of Day awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus studios.
Happy anniversary.
Becky was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a moderate breeze out of the south-southwest, mostly sunshine and 84. Partly cloudy skies tonight, about the same at 79. Tomorrow, mixture of some sun and very light rain and a gentle breeze right around 12 miles per hour with a high of 84. The same at 84 Thursday, and we'll have some clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the sudsy clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. And now,
Doctor, my eyes.
Doc A joins the Inside Drive. It's just what the doctor orders.
Oh, doctor!
Talk to your doctor before use.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Let's jump right into it. We started with 30-ish teams, right? 30 teams in the NBA, is that right? Not 32? 30. Started with 30, and we are officially down to 4, and it's time to talk about the Eastern and Western Conference Finals and how we got there with our good friend of the show, the only one with an official intro to his segment at Steve Alexander, but we know and love him as Doc A.
What is up?
What is, God, you sound crisp and clear today. I hope it sounds beautiful, like you're back almost to 100%.
My throat feels better than it has in a very, very long time.
I was going to say a long time for you, because I think that was, last August or so that you had surgery? Quite.
No, September.
Okay.
September, yeah.
Close. I was close. But yeah, I mean, here we are almost in June. So, but you sound crystal clear, just in time for your Indiana Pacers to take the hardwood against those New York Knicks. Pacers seem to kind of be a team of destiny, and I know you had a really nice Facebook post this morning kind of outlining some of that stuff and kind of how they got to where they are as they get ready to take on the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Talk a little bit about that, Doc.
Well, it started with Tyrese Halliburton being voted as the most overrated player in the league, and that ticked the entire team off. It ticked him off. It ticked Rick Carlisle off. It made Indiana fans mad. It's like overrated this. And then they cruised right through Giannis and the Bucks, and then they took out the number 1 seed in the East in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers were banged up. I don't know if it would have mattered or not. The Pacers, I'm with you, dude. They feel a little bit like a team of destiny right now. And now, one of the more storied playoff rivalries in the NBA is the Knicks versus the Pacers, and that's what we get for the Eastern Conference Finals, which is going to be awesome. Reggie Miller, I think, is going to be calling some of the games.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
We had a New York firefighter wearing a Halliburton jersey at the last Knicks game against the Celtics kind of get allegedly assaulted. And you can see they were throwing trash bags at him and stuff. In New York, after that Boston win, the Knicks beat Boston. And that guy, McAfee, tracked him down and hooked him up with Ty Halliburton. So the Pacers are flying this New York firefighter who has a Pacers tattoo on his arm to Indiana for Game 4, and they're setting him up in a hotel and tickets and transportation and everything. It's a pretty cool story. So I think the Indiana fans are kind of fired up about that to see, how many Knicks fans are going to be in the building and what that's going to look like. And then when they play at New York tomorrow night in Game 1, that's going to be chaos in the Garden. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and then that's not the only thing going on in Indiana though, because it's the month of May, and if you've ever been to Indianapolis for the month of May, it's all about the Motor Speedway and the Indianapolis 500.
Absolutely.
We've got this rookie that's never raced on an oval track before in his life. He got the pole, and he's young. He's Israeli, but he's super fun. Like, his interviews are so fun. We haven't had a rookie on the pole since 1983. Teo Fabi was the last one. So that's kind of a big deal. And then you got Team Penske. They got caught bending the rules, we'll say. And 2 of his 3 drivers got moved from the second row back to the very end of the pack. So there's a lot of drama going on there. And then you've got the women's WNBA team, the Fever. They are on the cover of this week's Sports Illustrated. Caitlin Clark is the favorite to win MVP. She's got a feud going with Angel Reese that is pretty one-sided. I mean, Caitlin Clark just dominates her. She had a triple-double against her over the weekend. And then Caitlin got called for a technical foul or a flagrant foul against Angel Reese, and Angel missed her free throw because, as you know, the ball don't lie. And as she was shooting the free throw, there was this weird, dolphin-like noise in the background.
Dolphin is good.
That was being piped through, and then there was racism accusations. But the funny thing is, it's this kid, this Instagrammer named Flight, and his account is Flight Reacts, and he has this crazy dolphin laugh, and it's just this weird, funny laugh. And my son immediately knew exactly who he was, and it was not a racist type of thing. It was they played this Instagrammer's laugh while she was shooting free throws, and they said it sounded like they were doing monkey jungle noises. And so everybody's mad at everybody right now, and everybody's feeling like, it just feels like Indiana is on fire right now, and the Pacers-Knicks series is going to be a war. I think it's going to go 7 games. I think the Knicks are going to win because they have home court, but the Pacers are not going to go down without a fight, and they may very well just win the series outright because they're a team of destiny right now.
Yeah, yes, and speaking of that, the 4 teams we have left in the NBA playoffs have not seen a title in quite some time, or even ever. The last NBA title for each team still standing, the Knicks, was in 1973. They have 2 titles to their franchise, and they haven't been in the finals since 1999. The Pacers have no NBA titles. They had 2 in the ABA and no finals appearance since 2000. The Oklahoma City Thunder had 1 as the Seattle Supersonics back in 1979. They've been in the finals 4 different times, with the last coming in 2012. And then you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have never had an NBA title and have never been to the finals in their team's history. Doc, who do you think the two teams are that go on to play in the NBA Finals this year? And do we have a first-time winner?
Well, when I talked to you guys last September, before I had throat surgery and couldn't talk for 3 or 4 months, I told you that my prediction was the Thunder were going to beat the Knicks in the NBA Finals. So I've got those two teams in the Final Four. And as much as I want the Pacers to win, I'm going with the Knicks, mainly because they have home court advantage against the Pacers. They also have Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. But I'm going to be polling for the Pacers, and I really think this thing could go either way. Out west, everyone, there are pundits and NBA people that are saying the Timberwolves match up well with the Thunder. I don't think anybody matches up well with the Thunder, and I think Oklahoma City is going to cruise through the Timberwolves. I've got the Thunder in 5 games. I got the Thunder tonight -7. It's up to 7.5 now. It might be up to 8 by the time tonight gets here. But I love the Thunder at home tonight -7.5. And it's interesting because their other lines in those previous series, in game 1 when they were at home, it was like 10 or 11 or 12 points. And this one's only 7-something. So that's interesting, and I think that speaks to people seem to think this team matches up well. I just don't think it does. They've got 2 big men to put on Rudy Gobert. Lou Dort is going to be all over Ant-Man. And then, Alex Caruso did a number on Nikola Jokic over the weekend. So they've got all these guys who can play defense and offense, and they're young, and I think they're fun. A lot of people are annoyed with the Thunder, but I love them. I still think it's going to be Thunder over the Knicks in the finals. I would not be surprised if it's Thunder Pacers either.
Yeah, that would be, if it was Thunder Pacers, obviously the Pacers would have a chance to be a first-time NBA champion. Speaking of the anomaly of what we were just talking about with these teams not having really a lot of appearances and or titles, the group of 4 right now have had 3 combined NBA titles. There were 18 combined in last year's 2 conference finals, and 37 in 2023, and then 28 in 2022. Just showing, the Celtics franchise and the amount of titles they've had in their history, and hopefully this will be a kind of a start of a new history for one of these teams, kind of going forward. Kind of jumping around a little bit, Doc. The Mavs got that number 1 lottery pick. We talked about it last week. It does look like they are going to be taking Cooper Flagg, and I think they'd be kind of silly not to. I know you're not big into the draft stuff, but any reason they would try to, other than Nico doing some crazy stuff, going outside and maybe trying to get some other picks, or do you think they're just going to take Cooper Flagg?
I think they're going to take Cooper Flagg. Now, if they got a deal they couldn't refuse, you trade Cooper Flagg and get a bunch of pieces to put with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and try to win now. But Irving's going to be out for at least half the upcoming season, if not 3/4 of it. So I really don't think this is going to be their year. I think it's very interesting that they got the number 1 pick. You can just see Adam Silver being like, Nico, we're going to need you to give Luka to the Lakers. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, you have to. But do I get a bunch of draft picks back? Nope. You get 1. Well, why am I going to do this? Because we're going to give you Cooper Flagg. Oh, well, but everybody's going to hate me. Well, you're just going to have to deal with that. We'll provide you with some protection, and it'll all work out in the end, buddy.
Yep.
It just feels like that is how this all went down. I don't know if the NBA lottery is rigged or not, but the fact that the Mavericks were able to get the number 1 pick, and then those 4 teams like Charlotte and the Wizards and these terrible teams, and we're tanking, they didn't even get very good picks. So the whole thing is kind of a mess. I think if I'm an NBA franchise at this point, I'm giving up on the tanking route, because the lottery never goes the way that we think it's going to.
Yeah, the team with the most chance just doesn't seem to come to fruition. So might as well not tank anymore unless they change up how that NBA draft works. Speaking of guys kind of moving around a little bit, we're pretty much at the end of the season at this point. Still got 2 more series to go through, 3 technically. What are some of the big names that might be on the move? Like the big, what we're talking about is Joel Embiid still going to be on the Sixers. There's a couple other big guys that are, where are they going to land? Any thoughts or insight into where some of these guys may be on the move in the offseason?
I don't know where anyone is going. I do know that if Philadelphia gets an offer for Joel Embiid that is decent, I'm taking it if I'm them.
He
because
just has not done anything.
Just completely unreliable. Giannis seems like him and Doc Rivers and Damian Lillard, like none of that worked out. Giannis needs to go find a new place to play. I could see Houston maybe making a move for him, or there's several. Every team in the league would like to have Giannis, so he could end up anywhere. And then Kevin Durant. This is going to be the summer of Kevin Durant and Giannis, I think, because Kevin Durant's not happy in Phoenix. The only thing to me that really makes sense that would be easy to do is like 38-year-old Brook Lopez is still a very effective center in the league. The L.A. Lakers need a big man. I mean, that was obvious in the playoffs that they had no interior defense because they got rid of Anthony Davis. They need a big man. I think Brook Lopez would look very good in a Lakers uniform next to LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves. But I don't know. It's going to be a crazy summer. That's the thing about, all this stuff I talked about, all this. There's always drama in the NBA. And people who are like, oh, I don't watch the NBA anymore, man. I quit watching after Jordan and Bird and Magic. Like, you're really missing out on these playoffs because they've been really fun. They've been entertaining. They're playing defense in the playoffs, and there's just great storylines. And another argument that we used to hear about the NBA is, oh, it's always the same 2 teams in the finals, and it gets boring. Well, not anymore. We got a bunch of new dogs in there, and it's just this would be a great time for people to get into the NBA. And starting tonight with this Thunder-Timberwolves game, and then moving tomorrow to this Pacers-Knicks game. I mean, it's just going to be fun.
Yeah, I will say I've probably watched more NBA this season, maybe because we have weekly conversations about it. But the NFL, the NBA playoffs have been a lot of fun to watch, and I'm a big NHL guy. So to pair like every other night, big NHL playoff game, NBA playoff game, it's just been a lot of fun and a lot of entertaining matchups. And it's nice to see the defense being played. It seems like the refs put away the whistles a little bit more in the playoffs, and it's been very physical and a lot more competitive, I guess, for a lack of a better term.
Yeah, and you were asking me off the air about the face of the NBA, and I've been thinking about that a little bit.
Yeah, we tried to find a face of each professional sport yesterday, and NBA is one that we kind of struggled with a little bit.
Yeah, because there's not a face of the NBA right now. It's a committee, and I think Jordan was the face of the NBA for a while, and then it was LeBron. And I'm afraid that if I had to pick one guy that people think of as the face of the NBA, I think it's still LeBron. And I think that's part of the reason that the ratings are down and people are so down on the NBA, because LeBron is very polarizing. You either love LeBron or you can't stand LeBron and love flop and all that. And if LeBron is the face of the NBA, that's why people are like, I don't watch the NBA. Just forget the NBA. I don't care. But I think after this Oklahoma City Thunder title run, I think SGA may end up being the face of the NBA. I think Anthony Edwards is certainly a candidate to do that. And then next year, if the Lakers can put anything defensively with LeBron and Luka, I could see Luka becoming the face of the NBA. But I think the leading candidate to become the face of the NBA is SGA.
Yeah, makes sense. And, he's kind of taken the league by storm the last couple of years. I mean, I don't think Ant-Man wants to be the face of the NBA. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, too. He's more just wants to show up and play as hard as he can and get some attention on the court, but not necessarily be the one that's the face of the NBA. Doc, I think you mentioned you think the Knicks will win in 7 because they have the home court advantage, and I think you said the Thunder in 5. Is that correct? I'm just going to put those predictions down today so we can see how that all pans out.
That is what I'm going with.
Okay. All right. For all of our betting people out there listening, on Hard Rock, which is the only legal betting platform in the state of Florida, they have the Thunder -7. You jumping on that one?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thunder -7, and the over-under is 217.5.
I don't do over-unders. I'm going to say under. I think both teams played a lot of defense. I'm going to say under, but don't listen to me on that. I don't do over-unders.
But the -7 is where it's at. So go ahead and take that -7. It pays -115 right now, and I think your bonus bet of the day lives in the hockey world. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Doc, we appreciate you. Go ahead.
Real quick, Julius Randle to be to score the most total points in the Pacers-Knicks series, in the Wolves Thunder series is plus 1,800. And Julius Randle scored 31, 34, 24, and 24 in his last 4 games. He's hot. And it wouldn't be shocking if Julius Randle scored the most points in the series. And that plus 1,800 is very enticing.
Yeah, I got to find that in Hard Rock. I don't know where that is, but I'm definitely going to look for it. You said Julius Randle and his total points, or leading the series with total points. I like it, Doc. Appreciate your time as always. Enjoy not only the game tonight, but your home favorite Indiana Pacers game against the Knicks tomorrow.
Right on, man. I'll see you guys next week.
Sounds great. That's Doc A. Steve Alexander. You can follow him on Twitter /X, Doctora, DOCKTORA. We appreciate him joining us every Tuesday, keeping you updated on what's going on in the NBA. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. Third segment coming up next.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straight away center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red boils, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
That boot store can help you dress in style, from casual Western wear for a night out with family and friends to a special meeting that requires a fashion touch with Western flair. From boots to hats, belts to shirts to jeans, and a lot more for the smallest of the largest in name brand Western attire, including Carhartt work clothes. Shop that boot store for the whole family. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, where God is good all the time.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're gonna have a talk.
Tell me what you know.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Probably going to call Adam Scheffler, say it? Schefter. I'm probably going to call him Scheffler for the rest of my life. So, I say the word Scheffler a lot more than I do Schefter. But Doc A brought that up, and I was like, you should have called me out on the air, man. Pronunciation is not my strong suit. But that's one. I mean, Scheffler is just going to roll off the tongue a lot easier than Schefter.
100%.
But now I'll be more consciously aware of it. I did see on the TV in that, when we were talking to Doc A, some things that go along with your NFL player playing in the Olympics.
Okay.
Permission for any player under NFL contract to participate in tryouts. So they have to have permission to participate in the tryout.
Got to get that permission slip signed.
That's right. This is an interesting one. A limit of one player per NFL team on each national team participating. So you can only have one player on your team playing on that national team. Now, obviously, you could have two players if they're playing on two different national teams. So that kind of limits it a little bit when it comes to forming these rosters.
I don't think many of the foreign players are going to be fitting the mold.
True, but more so like if you had... I don't know. I need a good example of two really good wide receivers on the same team, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. For lack of a better example.
But they'd have to be from separate countries.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be allowed to play on the U.S. team.
Yeah, right. So like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase could not play on the same team. It's got to be one or the other.
Absolutely.
And so Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill could reunite on the flag football field.
No doubt. Allowing, in addition, a team's designated international player to play for his home country. A purchase of a league-wide insurance policy to provide injury protection for any player injured while participating in an authorized flag football activity related to the Olympics. Here's an interesting one. A salary cap credit for any player who is injured.
Oh.
Obviously, you'd rather have your player playing on the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
At least you're not getting, that and still having to have that be a cap hit. An expectation that Olympic flag football teams will establish medical staffs and field surfaces that comply with NFL minimum standards. A schedule that does not unreasonably conflict with NFL players' league and club commitments. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, and other key league officials made their support for participation at the Olympics clear during the most recent meetings in Palm Beach, Florida last month. I wonder what their stance was. I got to imagine it was positive. But interesting, the two players on one team can't happen, and then, of course, if a player gets injured, your team gets a salary cap credit for that. So it sounds like they're building in a few things to, make it kind of right for both sides of the coin, so to speak. But... we'll see. It's supposed to be hopefully voted on later today. We'll see if it's official, but it doesn't sound like it's going to get held up by anybody. So,
well, Scotty Scheffler had a conversation with Adam Schefter.
Interesting.
Schefter thinks that it's going to go through pretty easily. So,
nice.
And we've been hearing about it. This will be the second day now. That the rumblings are that we'll have that. So that's cool. I think that it would be. I think that it would behoove future flag football teams in the Olympics that the guys who have been playing flag football, like there's a medley, there's a mix, 5 flag footballers and 5 NFLers. I don't think that as fans of watching, Americans are going to want to see the best available option that we have out there. So I think most of us would like to see, a full 10-man roster of NFL players. But I think that it would be smarter for the sport being an Olympic sport that you have a combination.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then these people that have been doing it for literally their entire career, quote unquote, still have opportunity to play it. I'll call it the highest level of flag football.
And flag football, like these pros can get out there and practice flag football for a little bit, but the game is still different than what tackle football is.
Oh, 100% different. But it'd be interesting to see. Is it going to be like I don't know the other countries and what athletes they have, but is this going to be like a basketball kind of thing where we just kind of dominate and maybe every once in a while lose a game that we shouldn't?
I
I just don't know enough about, like, you know.
Well, none of us do, though. We have never seen this sport, so no one has an idea of what will look like as taking tackle football, traditional football, and having those athletes perform in a flag football setting. It's much more shifty. It's much more speedy. Other countries, Shifty, Schefter, and Scheffler.
Yeah, there you go, the Triple S.
But yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. Ohio Brad says, not sure if y'all ever played in a competitive league, but the strategy is way different. And we have actually played together in a competitive. I mean, I would say it was recreational, but it was still competitive.
Oh, heck yeah, it was.
Still competitive.
Yeah, it was. No, and I've been coaching flag football for 5 or 6 years at this point, and it is so different and so strategically different than even really 7-on-7 football.
Yeah.
It's very different, and that's where the rules come into play. Like, can you hand it off? Can you do reverses? Can you do hooks and ladders? Can you lateral the ball? What can you do? And based on that, like the guys that have been playing, the guys and gals, I should say, that have been playing this their whole adult lives in a professional standpoint, or however the highest level of adult flag football is, they know how to play the game already. They don't have to learn. Not that the NFL players would have a tough time, adjusting to it because they're unbelievable athletes, but, these guys that have been doing it, at that level, it's an easy adjustment for them because they don't really have to adjust. They've just been playing it.
Well, we are talking to greatness here when we're referencing Ohio Brad. He was the fraternity league champ in flag football, so take notes, y'all.
Yep, absolutely. Played a little intramural flag football myself at Coastal Carolina University. Ran up to against a couple buzzsaws, though. A lot of the guys that didn't make the team.
Yeah, they were
played intramural flag football and probably added a concussion or so during that particular season. But yeah, pivoting from football to golf, getting everybody updated. I've been kind of talking about the Women's National Championship. We have Coach Bond on with us all the time. Florida State has officially qualified again for the match play portion of the National Championship.
Whoop, whoop.
Again.
Go Noles.
I think it's, 8 or 9 years, something like that, she said, in a row.
A lot of them.
A lot of them, indeed. And let's hope that they can get this one over the hump this year. It's going to be a tough task because ended up being it started with 30 teams, then it got cut down to 15. Florida State made that cut, and then it gets cut down to your top 8. Florida State ended up being the 4th seed in the top 8 with rounds of 7 over, -4, even, and even to finish at +3 for the stroke play portion of the national championship. Stanford, the number 1 team in the country, finished at 27 under par, with the next team being the Oregon Ducks at 6 under par, followed by Northwestern at 2. Already said Florida State at 3 over, Southern Cal at 4 over, Arkansas at 6 over, Texas at 8 over, and then the last team to be in is Virginia at +15, the number 8 seed. So that makes the match play portion get started today, and it is already out there on the course right now. Currently, Stanford is leading in 2 matches and losing in 2 matches. It would behoove Florida State to have Stanford get knocked out of the match play in this national championship.
Why is that?
Just because Stanford's so strong, and it would make the path, quote-unquote, a little easier. But, as we always say, it's
they want greatness on their way to their destination of destiny.
Well, so far, greatness is happening in the match play matches against Southern California. Currently, Lottie Woad is 4 up in her match against Yasmin Koo. And she's got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes to go. She started on the back 9, and then she won 1, 2, 3. She won 3 straight holes and then added a 4th one, and she's getting close to closing out this match, being 4 up with 5 to go. If she wins the next hole, she'll close out the match. That would be 5 and 4. But if they tie the next hole and then tie the next hole, that match will be over 4 and 3. And you've also got Kayla Williams, who's we've talked to about with Amy Bond before. She's currently 5 up in her current match. She started on the back 9 as well. She's 5 up over Zin, a.k.a. Cindy Koo. Then you've got Mirabelle Ting. She's the number 1 college golfer. She is tied with Bailey Shoemaker, who I know that name. I think she's won the U.S. Amateur or something like that. So they put Mirabelle Ting up against a very formidable opponent. And then Sophia Fulbrook is actually down by 4 in her match to Kylie Chong. And then Alexandra Gazzoli is up 1 on Catherine Park. So let's hope that these matches stay that way, because as of right now, Florida State would win 3.5 to 1.5 half, but still a good bit of golf left. They're kind of reaching the last little segment of their holes because if they do win, they move on and they play another match today.
Oh,
a lot of golf for these ladies.
Lots of golf.
A lot of golf for these ladies. In the other matches, for those who care, Arkansas is currently up 3-2 against Northwestern. And let's see, did I mention the other ones first? The Oregon Ducks are up 3-2 over Texas. And I already mentioned Stanford currently up 3-2 over Virginia. We'll keep you posted on that throughout the week as it's winding down the NCAA women's college golf season. Staying there on the golf side of things, we've got the individuals and teams that'll be playing in the boys' national championship. The Amherst, Virginia regional was hosted by Liberty University. In the following order of the seeds that'll be going on to the national championship, you've got LSU, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Pepperdine, Tennessee, and that's the top 5 right there. Hold on 1 second. Let me look at something real quick. I might have, don't quote me on that. I might have inappropriately said something. All right, I was on the wrong one. So Amherst, Virginia, Oklahoma, Vandy, Tennessee, Wake Forest, and Pepperdine ended up qualifying for the national championship, which will go down next week. In the Urbana Atkins Golf Club Regional, hosted by Illinois, you had a tie for first, Illinois, Oklahoma State, followed by UNLV, Troy, and Texas Tech. Good luck to the Troy Trojans as they head over to the national championship in Carlsbad, California. And then up there in Auburn, hosted by the Auburn Tigers and the Auburn University Club, Auburn, Texas A&M, UCLA, Purdue, and Georgia Tech, all going to the men's national championship. Out there all the way in Bremerton, Washington, hosted by Washington University, you had Florida, Arizona State, Colorado, South Florida, and South Carolina. And then the Montreux Golf and Country Club out there in Reno, Nevada, right there close to Lake Tahoe. You had BYU, Virginia, Texas, San Diego, and California. And then, of course, just down the road, about 2 hours away over there at Seminole Legacy Golf Club, hosted by Florida State. They won their regional pretty handedly, I believe. And then it's Florida State, Ole Miss, New Mexico, Georgia, and Augusta University. So all those teams will head over to Carlsbad, California next week. I think it follows that same schedule and would start next Thursday. Or I think it goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And you'll have a national champion on the men's side as well. We'll keep you posted on that throughout the tournament, as we got a lot of schools in our people's favorites in our listening area here that are competing in these national championships. So a lot of fun. Auburn's trying to defend their national championship from last year, but as we talk about at length, it is a grueling grind to make it all the way to that final match, and we're hopeful that both maybe Florida State on both sides can make it to the final match.
Go Noles!
The men did make it last year, and I believe the year prior as well, and they lost to Florida, and then last year it lost to Auburn. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, it'll be time for some afternoon delight debriefs right here on the Inside Drive.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Line play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. This afternoon and evening, there will be a moderate breeze out of the south-southwest, mostly sunshine and 84. Partly cloudy skies tonight, about the same at 79. Tomorrow, mixture of some sun and very light rain and a gentle breeze right around 12 miles per hour with a high of 84. The same at 84 Thursday, and we'll have some clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready for your next adventure and discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia today. Check out the 2025 SUV family. The road is yours. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage or a 2025 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind that you can trust. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. See us today.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage and a 2025 Sorento with $1,748 per month for 1,000 financed in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 6/2/25.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WFLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Skyrockets in flight.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
In flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, all of beautiful Bay County. A warm one out there today, but beautiful nonetheless. And of course, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Apalachicola, all that wonderful Forgotten Coast. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. 3 great local shows every day, streaming live. You can watch them live, listen live, or watch them after the fact. You can even clip out if you call in and you want to hear yourself. You can clip it out of YouTube. You can clip it out wherever you are, especially if you can screen record on your phone. Probably the easiest way to do it there, but you can always go back and listen to yourself as well. But you got to give us a call at 850-215-6290 in order to do that. Of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. 104.3 is all you got to search up. We're giving away t-shirts all the time in the app. If you don't have the app downloaded, you can't listen to us wherever you go, and you can't give yourself an opportunity to win a t-shirt. And then also you can head over to ESPNPC.com, Scorpion TV. Sign up for it, only $45 per month with code ESPNNW. And I guarantee that is significantly less, unless you just like to live in the over-the-air local channels, which are now broadcast in HD now. This is by far going to be the cheapest way to see all of your favorite sporting events, all of your favorite teams, whatever region, wherever they are, it's on Scorpion TV, and including over 10,000 movies on demand. Don't forget, Best of Bay voting starts June 2nd, and also want to thank Golf Plus, and you can vote for them too for Golf Shop. I'm sure they got nominated. I haven't looked, but the actual voting's not out yet. We'll get into that as we get closer to that. But check out Golf Plus right over there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza. Got my shirt on. Fitting, retail, and repair. That is their motto. If you need a new club, if you need an old club to be fit to you, you know, if you've got forged clubs, over time, those bad boys will bend, and you could have different lies than you expect. And Golf Plus can check those for you, and if they are a little off, they can get you back in the right settings. Again, Golf Plus right here in our own backyard, and we are very lucky to have them. They've been up there in the Dothan area for over 36 years on Highway 231, a.k.a. Montgomery Highway. So go check out Golf Plus. Appreciate them being our studio sponsor. Also, a little PSA, you know, don't leave your golf. It's starting to be that time of year. Don't leave your golf clubs in the trunk of your car, because what happens is the trunk of your car gets super hot, and those ferrules, which is where the golf club is connected, and they put the ferrule over the top of that so you can't see where the golf club is connected to the head of the club, that epoxy could get a little melted, and you go take a swing on the golf course, and one of those heads could fly off.
I'm lucky that that's never happened. Not that I leave them in my vehicle, but leave them in a storage shed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Maybe it's not as quite as hot.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, but I've always had them in a shed. They've literally always been.
Gotcha.
If they're not out, they're not outside. You know, but they're in the heat. Maybe even hotter. In there than it is outside.
It could be a little steamy, nonetheless. But yeah, I've seen that happen many a time. So I know it's a pain in the butt taking your clubs out of your trunk, bringing them inside. But if you want to preserve it's not that big of a deal if one flies off, unless it flies off in the pond, and then you hope the divers at that particular golf course, when they're diving for golf balls, find that club as well. All right, diving into some afternoon delight debriefs. This one's kind of wild. I guess I had it. I don't know when I saved it, but talking about microwaves, and then we'll get to the actual Afternoon Delight debrief part of this story. Plague Central microwaves work by emitting electromagnetic radiation in the microwave frequency range, typically around 2.54 gigahertz. This radiation causes polar molecules, especially water, to rapidly oscillate, generating heat through friction. In food, this results in relatively quick and uneven heating. However, living organisms are made of mostly water and other conductive materials, which means they would experience rapid and uncontrollable increase in internal temperature when exposed to microwaves. This heating does not happen evenly, often leading to hot spots that can cause tissues to cook from the inside out. If a living thing were placed in a microwave, the consequences would be horrific. Internal organs, especially, this is what we're getting to, internal organs, especially those with high water content like the brain, eyes, and muscles, would begin to overheat almost instantly. This could result in internal bleeding, tissue rupture, and organ failure within moments. Nerve endings would also be damaged, causing intense pain. The skin and outer tissues may not heat as quickly, which adds to the cruel nature of the damage. In small creatures, death would occur likely in seconds. In larger animals, it could take longer, but would be just as excruciating. Beyond the physical harm, this kind of act is considered animal cruelty and illegal in many places. Intentionally microwaving a living creature is not only unethical, but it's also a serious criminal offense. It's important to treat all living things with respect and compassion. If you're curious about microwave science or its effects on biological tissue from an educational or research standpoint, there are humane and ethical ways to explore those topics through simulations or approved scientific studies. That's kind of the precursor to this Afternoon Delight debrief.
All right.
Titled, My Hamster Exploded. I've been crying in my room for 2 hours now. I was making some salad dressing in the kitchen with my pet hamster, Manny. I let him roam around, in parentheses. My sister and her friends were also in there doing something. I spilled a bottle of vinegar, so I left to get a towel, and when I came back, Manny was drinking it. I didn't think anything of it, so I let him help me clean it up. All of a sudden, Manny starts acting really weird. He is normally very full of energy, but he was just sitting still. Everyone gathered around him trying to figure out what was wrong. Suddenly, we hear a fizzing noise coming from inside Manny, and he started exploding. He let out a final squeak and bursted bubbles, and blood went everywhere. This is sad. My sister and her friends started screaming and crying. I ran and got my dad, and he cleaned it up. We looked in the pantry, and apparently Manny got into the baking soda and ate a bunch of it. I think I'm traumatized now. Everybody thought it was going to be Manny getting stuck in the microwave, but instead he did the old baking soda and vinegar trick, which is how you make volcanoes erupt, quote unquote. Okay. So Manny got into some baking soda and unfortunately got into some vinegar as well, and we all know what happens with that. The Texas A&M team has had a tough go in this particular calendar year. The NFL, the college football team goes 8-5, drops 4 out of their last 5. The basketball team gets bounced in the round of 32, drops 6 out of their last 9. The basketball team is 28-25, gets swept by Missouri, who has 3 SEC wins, unlikely to make the NCAA tournament. And then the number 1 national seed in softball becomes the first number 1 national seed to lose its own regional. Texas A&M having a tough go right now.
Yeah, they are. They're the underachievers.
The underachievers indeed, because they've got all the money and all that good stuff, but sometimes money does not correlate to success on the field.
Yeah, they have the recipe for success. They just have not learned how to let the cake bake and finish it.
They haven't put it in the microwave yet and got it heated up, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let me jump into some ones that I found on Facebook. Ooh, this is a really cool one, and Hansel Emmanuel, if you guys know who he is, he's a 6'6" guard, and he's projected to be a second-round pick in the NBA draft, potentially later in the second round. There's also a chance he might join the G League and could be considered for the dunk contest. Hansel Emmanuel lost one of his arms when he was 6, but now he's taking the basketball world by storm and has eyes on the NBA. I don't know if you've ever seen him play, but it is fantastic to watch. But the fact that somebody with only one arm could make it to the NBA.
Oh, I've seen. He made it to the league?
Well, he's projected to be a second-round draft pick in the upcoming NBA draft.
That'll be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and we had the football player that played at UCF.
Yeah, without the hand.
Yeah, man, what was his name?
I know who you're talking about. I forget his name, too. But I forget a lot of stuff. But, I mean, this would be unreal if a guy just...
I don't know. What's crazier, though, basketball or football with one arm? I mean, both of them are insane.
Yeah. Because was it just his hand?
I believe so.
So he still could kind of push with whatever you want to call it.
When you talk about the basketball player, though, you're talking about legitimately one arm.
It's above the elbow.
You're right. Shaquem Griffin, by the way.
That's right. Shaquem. Should have remembered that. But yeah, I mean, so we'll keep an eye on that. I came across that one. I was like, that is pretty darn impressive. And the fact that he could make it to the NBA kind of gives hope for everybody out there. That
making it to play college basketball is
in itself is
right there, playing out there at Oakland Terrace or something is hope in and of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people just, they get discouraged waking up out of the bed and not wanting to go do, something where they have to use physical activity or whatever. And so there you go. There's some inspiration.
Yes. This is not as inspirational, but just to put a perspective on where we are right now in the world. For a small amount of perspective during these crazy times, imagine you were an American born in 1900. When you were 14, World War I starts, and it ends on your 18th birthday with 22 million people killed. Later in the year, a Spanish flu epidemic hits the planet and runs until you are 20. 50 million people die from it in 2 years. 25 million people a year. When you're 29, the Great Depression begins. Unemployment hits 25%. The global GDP drops 27%, and that runs until you're the age of 33. The country nearly collapses along with the world economy. When you turn 39, World War II starts. You aren't even over the hill yet. When you're 41, the United States is fully pulled into World War II. Between your 39th and 45th birthday, 75 million people perish in the war, and the Holocaust kills 6 million people. At age 52, the Korean War starts, and 5 million people perish. At age 64, the Vietnam War begins, and it doesn't end for many years. 4 million people die in that war. Approaching your 62nd birthday, you have the Cuban Missile Crisis, a tipping point in the Cold War. Life on our planet, as we know, could have well ended. Great leaders prevented that from happening. As you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone on the planet born in 1900. How did you survive all that? A kid in 1985 didn't think about their 85-year-old grandparent, understood how hard school was, yet grandparents and now great-grandparents survived through all those things listed above.
Yeah.
Perspective is an amazing art. Let's try to keep things in perspective. Let's be smart, help each other out, and we will get through all of this. In the history of the world, there has never been a storm that lasted. This too shall pass. Little perspective there, born in 1900. That is a tough road to hoe.
Yeah.
That is for certain. But just wanted to kind of bring that perspective to everybody's attention here on this warm but beautiful Tuesday.
It's definitely a good perspective to try to keep, obviously, without knowing. Without actually going through it, you don't have the legitimate feelings that were going on in that time. But I'm blessed to have been around my grandparents a lot and been spending some time over there. My mom was in town. They're headed back to Jacksonville today, but been spending time with the family, going through all the old pictures and
reminiscing
what it was like in the 40s and 50s and all of that stuff. And that's some of the biggest lessons that I've learned is from my grandparents. And everyone's out here in the rat race and everything. And when you get close to that deathbed, those aren't the things you're thinking about, is all what you did and everything. You're just trying to spend time with the people who matter the most to you. So there's some perspective for you as well.
No doubt. Here's another, we talk about toughness in hockey players. Here's one that brings that all into the fold. It's the 2013 Stanley Cup Final between the Boston Bruins and the Chicago Blackhawks is remembered for its intensity and drama. But few fans knew how much Patrice Bergeron suffered during the series, especially in the heartbreaking Game 6 loss that ended Boston's Cup hopes. Bergeron entered the final already injured. He suffered torn cartilage in his rib cage early in the series, and by Game 4, he had a broken rib after a tough collision. Despite the pains and concerns over a possible spleen injury, he stayed in the lineup, determined to help his team. Game 6 was brutal. He managed the intense pain. Bergeron received several nerve block injections before the game and again during the second period. Early in that game, he also suffered a separated shoulder, but kept skating and battling through every shift. After the crushing 3-2 loss to the Blackhawks in Game 6, Bergeron was rushed to the Massachusetts General Hospital, where doctors discovered he had a collapsed lung caused by a small puncture. He spent several days in the hospital recovering. Despite playing through torn cartilage, a broken rib, a separated shoulder, a collapsed lung, Bergeron never wavered. His toughness and leadership inspired the Bruins throughout the series, and his willingness to push his body to the limit became a defining moment of his career. Though the Bruins lost the Stanley Cup Final in Game 6, Patrice Bergeron's grit and sacrifice during that run have become legendary, proof of what it means to fight for the spoked bee, no matter the cost. Just one of those things trying to play hockey is insane. But how do you play with a collapsed lung? Like how'd you breathe?
They patch it up for you.
I guess.
For a few hours. I have no idea. But every year at the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs, after the Cup run, you'll see from the Stanley Cup champion all of the injuries that those guys were dealing with. And sometimes you just get upper body or lower body, but you start to see on Twitter, all of the injuries that they were dealing with, and it's just insane.
It is absolutely insane, and to play with that kind of stuff, and that's the definition of doing it for the team, no doubt about that. And Patrice Bergeron's had an unbelievable NHL career. I'm pretty sure he's still playing, right? He's not retired yet. He might.
I think he retired maybe 2-3 years ago.
Recently, Patrice Bergeron. That's a tough
He's 39 years old right now.
I would hope after all that he's, let's see, he's drafted in 2003.
2023 is when he retired.
Yep,
so
that's right.
Ago.
I know Marty from Boston was sad when he retired, but he had an unbelievable career there, 20-year career in the NHL with all those injuries and things that happens. Pretty scary. All right, some UPI news. Let me pick the better ones here because there's quite a few new ones. All right, how about this one? Moose gives birth on grass outside of Alaska hospital.
Nice.
The irony of that, maybe the moose was just trying to get labor and delivery and couldn't make it quick enough. A moose wandered up on the grass outside of a hospital in Anchorage, Alaska, and gave birth to a healthy calf. Witnesses captured photos and videos on Thursday when a mother moose gave birth on the grass right outside the city's Providence Hospital. A witness identified as Louise C. said she was on her way to the hospital's cafe when she saw a crowd had gathered. I see a ton of people peering over the balcony, and I'm like, what's going on? So I go over there, and there's a moose who just gave birth. It's so exciting because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to witness, Louise told KTUU-TV. It was just the cutest thing ever, and I have never witnessed something like that. The mother moose and calf remained in the area for the hours following the birth, witnesses said. Providence Hospital had previously had a viral moose visit in 2023 when a young moose wandered into the hospital's lobby to munch on decorative plants. So apparently the Providence Hospital in Anchorage, Alaska is a hot spot for moose. One moose is a moose, a bunch of moose are moose.
Yep, there you go, all blended in together.
That's right. Big old antlers on those moose. It's not mooses, it's just moose. All right, let's see if I can find one more. It's a weird world record, but we'll go with it.
Hey, there you go.
Idaho man scoops water with his hands to break his own world record. I don't know if I'd want to break my own. The Idaho man who holds the most concurrent Guinness World Records, he's back at it again, Guinness World Record titles, beat one of his own records by using his hands to transfer 1.3 gallons of water between 2 containers in 30 seconds. David Record Breaker Rush said it originally took him...
He had to give himself that own nickname.
Nobody gave him that.
So lame.
It is lame. It is lame. David Record Breaker Rush said it originally took him 5 years of attempts to set the record for most water moved by the hands in 30 seconds before he finally broke it in 2024 with 112 ounces of water successfully transferred. Rush said several of his early attempts were disqualified due to Guinness World Records rules violations, including his pitcher of water moving slightly and using a non-approved surface. Rush took aim at his own record and obliterated it with 172.5 ounces, or 1.3 gallons of water moved. Rush wrote the record taught him that persistence pays off. The weirdest goals can lead to rewarding victories, and that sometimes breaking your own record is even sweeter than setting the first one. I feel like if you had big hands, that would help, right? Or do you have bigger gaps between your fingers then?
Oh, I would have... Man, that's a tough one. Yeah, I would say
we
maybe...
may have to try this one.
But really, the larger your hands are, both of your hands, as long as they match, you're still going to have tighter gap. I mean, the gap's going to be the same, right?
I would think so. I don't know. I was just trying to think about it.
Well, maybe y'all can hire him. Not y'all, but just anyone. If you have a holy boat, then maybe you bring him with you.
Bring him in, yeah.
Break some records along the way.
Absolutely.
Find yourself in the Book of Guinness World Records.
You can hang out with David. Was it David Record Breaker Rush? Stupid.
The Record Breaker. He's got 1,000 of those things in the book, and we've got it on sale for $29.99.
He's got a lot, no doubt about it. And that takes us to the end of our Afternoon Delight debrief. Final 2 segments coming up next.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 84 with a moderate breeze out of the south-southwest at 14 miles per hour. Tonight, some clouds with lows around 78. Tomorrow, mixture of some sun and very light showers with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 83. Moving into Thursday, about the same with a high of 85 and partly sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Dust off your boots and get ready for some action. Let 'em Buck Productions presents the Vortex Springs 6th Annual Rodeo. This Friday and Saturday night starting at 7. Tickets are just $15. Buckaroos under 5 are free. Witness thrilling rodeo events sanctioned by the Professional Cowboy Association. We'll see you at the 6th Annual Vortex Spring Rodeo. Vortex Spring, 1517 Vortex Spring Lane in Ponce de Leon. For more information, call 850-258-8471.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Join the best of A winning Inside Drive with all your lines, props, and covers.
Winning
on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We got a fun exercise here for this next segment, and we may not get an actual physical exercise out of it, but would like to include our listeners in it as well. So once you hear me talk about it, if you want to give us a call, 850-215-6290, or you can text in as well, 850-215-6290. Probably be easier to call in on this particular topic. As I was trying to pull, my own little David Hayes out of my rabbit hat, and I didn't post it on Facebook prior, which I love when you post those. Those are so fun to think about and do. So I've got one for today. Let's build the perfect athlete using 5 traits from different athletes. We'll start with the NFL, and we'll start with quarterbacks.
So we're just doing an NFL quarterback right here.
Right now,
and
yeah.
We're going to take 5 players.
5 current players in the league and make them into one particular quarterback.
All right.
Not to put you on the spot, but this is one I think you can...
What's the first element that we're doing here?
I mean, we could do like arm strength.
Well, you got to have these things prepped for me so that I know what I'm going to answer.
No, we're building this together. It's a
collaborative.
So
it's a live brainstorm.
Yeah, it's putting everybody on the spot.
All right, so we'll go with the first thing would be what? Arm strength?
Arm strength.
All right, I'll go with Matt Stafford.
Okay, I'll go with Josh Allen.
All right.
So that was arm strength, right?
Yeah.
Arm strength. Next, I would go with escapability. How about that? Is that okay?
Right. Lamar Jackson.
All right. I would agree with that. All right.
Next, do we go accuracy?
I would go accuracy for sure.
Healthy Tua.
Healthy Tua. It's got an asterisk on it. Accuracy. All right. Next, we'll go...
Who do you got for healthy...
I agree with Tua.
Okay,
I agree with Tua. I could probably put... Who else would be fairly accurate in the NFL there? I mean, Jaden Daniels with his...
He's pretty accurate, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, he was definitely accurate.
And then you don't have to worry about the concussion issues.
Yeah.
But
well... Hey, that was just year one.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, though.
Yeah, hopefully not.
He's fun to watch, that's for sure. Definitely easy to root for.
I'm just going with Tua. We all know who Tua is. We don't have to spell his last name out because I don't know how to spell his last name. Tua covers that situation. All right, next I would go with decision-making / reading.
Decision-making / reading. All right, with that... Man, who turns the ball over the least amount, essentially? Will Levis? No, I'm just kidding.
He'd be at the top of the list for turning the ball over.
Man.
I kind of set this one up to see what you would say. Because I would go with Brock Purdy on this situation.
Okay, I think that's a fair answer. I would not be in that ballpark at all, but I agree. Yeah. I mean, I have no qualms with that at all. I'm going to go with... Joe Burrow.
Okay, I like that. He gets that ball in there.
I mean, anybody who buys a Batmobile, I feel like makes really good decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What would be another trait?
Southport Scott says, who starts with the QBs? Start with the kickers, for crying out loud.
All right, we'll go
Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah, absolutely. Who was the one for the Falcons there forever? Wasn't Matt? No. Who was it for
the Falcons?
Maybe Janikowski finished with the Raiders.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I think he played his whole entire career with the Raiders. He might have went somewhere at the end of his career. I mean, did Gary Anderson, was that the Falcons kicker?
I think I was thinking of Matt Bryant.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was there for a while.
Who was the Anderson that was a kicker forever?
Well, Gary Anderson, right? Or was it Morton Anderson?
Mort's yeah, he was the kicker. I was thinking he was the analyst, but yeah, Morton Anderson is actually who I was thinking of.
Gary Anderson was also a kicker for a long time.
Oh, there you go. The Anderson's dominating the kicker world.
23 years. And he's from South Africa, so he'll be on the flag football squad.
Morton Anderson's from Danish would be what?
Oh, that's just something to eat for breakfast.
That is true. A lot of sugar in them, though.
That would be like Denmark?
Yeah,
and stuff like that?
Denmark,
yeah.
I believe. But yeah, so these international guys are kicking. Yeah, we'll get him on the flag football team. He's known as the Great Dane.
The Great Dane.
He's from Copenhagen, Denmark. Yeah, he was with the Falcons for a long. That's who the Falcons guy I was thinking of.
He played with the Saints and the Falcons. 25 seasons for Morton, 23 for Gary. So
yeah,
daggum. But Morton's in the Hall of Fame.
True, 2017.
Gary is not.
Yeah. He was cut in the 2019, or Matt Bryan was, and then he was replaced by Younghoe Koo, who's, I guess, still going.
Yeah, Younghoe.
Yeah.
Took me a long while to pronounce that. Even when I found out the pronunciation of Younghoe,
you can't look at it when you say it.
I think I've heard daggum Al Michaels, Younghoe Koo.
Yep.
That's what they say. Like, oh.
Absolutely.
Younghoe Koo, man. Heck of a kicker for the Falcons. All right, so where are we at here? We've done...
We're getting a fifth trait for an NFL quarterback. We've got arm strength, escapability, accuracy, decision-making, and...
How about leadership?
Ooh, leadership.
And it just automatically makes me think of Aaron Rodgers, right? No.
He's my first
You know
pick.
what? I'm going to go with a quarterback who's not going to be going into the season as QB1, but I still think that he's a heck of a leader. He hasn't led his team to what we want. No, Joe Flacco is a great answer.
I was guessing. I was trying to guess what you were going to say.
But this guy kind of is in his phase as a journeyman now, and we don't know what the journey is going to look like, and we just got done talking about his team in the world of kickers. I'll go with Kirk Cousins because he's led the biggest comeback in NFL history.
One of the biggest bags in NFL history.
He got that, right? But I feel like he's a great leader because you haven't really heard bad things about him from former teammates, even RG3 with that situation. And I think sometimes great leaders emerge from not really being in a leadership position. And now the whole situation with Penix, like you haven't seen, you haven't heard him being sour about that situation.
Yeah.
So I would go with Kirk Cousins' leadership.
Captain Kirk for the leadership. I like that. All right. So we got arm strength, Allen and Stafford, escapability, Lamar, accuracy, Tua, and
Brock Purdy.
Well, no, we said that for decision.
Yeah.
He's pretty accurate.
I think accurate.
as well,
we just both aligned on Tua because you didn't want to write his last name.
That's true. In the decision making, we had Brock and Joe Burrow, and then leadership, Kirk Cousins. Not a bad quarterback there, I wouldn't think. Let's do wide receiver now. We kind of talked a little bit about kicker there. I guess we could do the modern kicker, but Justin Tucker's gone now, and he's under some scrutiny. That's kind of the...
Wait, who's under scrutiny?
Justin Tucker.
Oh, Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking Justin Jefferson.
No.
Man, because he's like one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like he not only plays the game the right way, which a lot of guys play the game the right way, but his off the field, his contract issues, all of that stuff. He's just a great wide receiver, great athlete, and from what I know of him, great human being.
Absolutely. All right, so wide receiver, let's pick the categories. Speed.
Okay.
Route running.
All right.
You like that? It's okay?
Yeah.
Route running.
Speed, route running. Hands.
Catch radius.
Okay, catch radius.
Or hands, yeah. Kind of that goes hand in hand, no pun intended. Speed, route running, catch radius. Dare we say vertical?
Say it.
Vertical.
Dare to say it.
I said it twice. Speed, route running, catch radius, hands, vertical, and what's another good one?
Catching traffic.
How about strength?
All right, strength to work.
TH. All right, speed. Gotta go Hill or...
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's...
Hill or Worthy, right?
Yeah, but we'll go with sustained speed.
Sustained speed.
Yeah.
The SS. All right, route running. That's a tricky one. A lot of good guys that run good tight routes.
I'll go with...
And modern guys.
Amari Cooper.
Ooh, I like that. Amari Cooper. Catch radius. Old JJ?
I'm going to go JC, Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I feel like he's a little bit bigger. I don't have the stats in front of me, but...
There's probably another guy somewhere that's got a longer wingspan.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But we're going with what we know.
Absolutely. Vertical. Who can jump out of these stadiums?
All of them.
That's true.
So Justin Jefferson's wingspan is 6 foot 1 1/4 inch. I want to see what Jamar Chase's is. And his is 6 foot. Even. So Justin Jefferson's wingspan is actually a little bit larger. All right, so what are we on here? Vertical. I'll go with, I don't know if he's got the best vertical, but I'll go CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
I feel like I see him making a lot of, if Julio was still in the league, it would be Julio. But I'll go with
CD.
Oh, you know what? Let's go Justin Jefferson right there.
Okay, yeah. That's probably
because that one catch that he made, I believe it was the Bills one-handed. Just man,
grabbed it back there. That was pretty impressive. And then strength, I'll go DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that's fine with me. That's fine with me.
You could have threw Debo in there too, but DK is just a lot bigger guy.
Uniqueness. How about what's the
uniqueness?
What about? Well, it just made me think of the wide receiver Matt Collins. Played for the Raiders and the Bills. He walks around barefoot all the time.
That's true.
That's pretty unique.
That is. He got the crazy hair too, doesn't he? Yeah, that's unique as well. All right, let's do it for. Let's do the kicker.
Kicker?
Modern kickers, of course.
Okay, what do we got? Kicking strength and accuracy.
We'll just do accuracy, like distance, strength with kicking, and then what would be another one?
How good they are at getting massages, I don't know.
That limits it to one. And then if you go in the quarterback world, that limits it to another one.
And
accuracy,
let's see,
strength,
clutchness.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, is standing up to the pressure.
All right, so strength, I'll go with Aubrey out of Dallas.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
What is that, Justin Tucker? Leading up to last year, he
kind of
fell off a little bit, but
I'll go. Oh man, Nick Folk out of the Titans.
There you go.
He was like top 2 last year, and he's older.
Yeah,
and then
but
clutch. Who's always kicking some clutch field goals? Let's go with whoever the Washington Commanders kicker is. What's his name? Zane or something like that?
Yeah, Zane Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. He was very clutch last year. Zane. I would have said Justin Tucker prior to last year, but I'm talking about right now in this day and age. What's another player we could do?
Are you all
player type?
NFL?
No, you want to go outside of let's go outside of the NFL. Let's go Major League Baseball. We'll go in your wheelhouse there.
Okay, so what are we creating here? Just a player?
A player, obviously.
All right, so what do we start with here? Defensively speaking?
Okay, we'll go defense, like batting.
Okay.
Speed, maybe agility.
Okay. I'll go speed, Ellie De La Cruz.
That's fair.
Fielding. This one is a little bit tougher than I'll go with oh man. PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Okay.
Out of Chicago. The bat, I'll go Aaron Judge.
Absolutely.
And then what was the other thing that you said?
Agility.
Tried
to throw another one in there.
Not that you really need a ton of agility in baseball, but
playing center field, maybe.
Some athleticism. Give me who's someone who's always just doing backflips and stuff. I'll go Michael Harris.
Oh, I
out
like
of the Atlanta Braves.
Getting the Braves in there. He's a great center fielder. All right, good stuff there. I'll bail us out in this, and I just want to talk about, speaking of baseball, but talk about the current baseball, the baseball.com top 25 as we approach the start of the conference tournaments with several of them.
College baseball.
Yeah, college baseball.
Yeah, SEC starts today.
Yeah, several of them start today and run through Sunday. A lot of teams get buys because they're so big, these tournaments, especially SEC with how many teams they've got now. Number 1 in the nation after the final regular season series is the LSU Tigers. Overall record 42-13. They stay at that number 1 spot from last week. The Texas Longhorns coming in at number 2 with 42-11. They were 3rd last week. They moved up a spot. SEC's got 1 and 2. North Carolina Tar Heels coming in at 39-12. Previous ranking for the Oregon Ducks. They just seem to be on top of a lot of different sports right now. Not that they haven't been in prior years, but golf, baseball, softball, women's golf. Obviously football had a great year as well. 41-13. They were ranked 5th last week. Arkansas Razorbacks made a bigger jump. They moved up 3 spots. Number 5. They have been number 1 at one point. They were 43-12 on the season. Florida State Seminoles coming in at number 6. They dropped from the number 2 spot last week after a tough final series. They ended up finishing 37-13. The Oregon State Beavers went 41-12-1. had a tie in there for the Beavs. They stayed at 7. The Auburn Tigers, they dropped 2 spots to the 8th spot from number 6 last week. They finished with a regular season record of 38-17. Vanderbilt Commodores with a record of 39-16, staying in that number 9 spot. Georgia Bulldogs coming in at 10. Coastal Carolina Chanticleers at 11. Southern Miss at 12. UCLA at 13. Clemson Tigers at 14. Florida Gators moved all the way up to number 15 from a previous week's ranking of 23rd. Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, both of them entered the chat at 16 and 17 after not being ranked last year. David Hayes' favorite, Dallas Baptist University, DBU, with a 38-14 record. They were previously ranked 24th all the way up to 18th. Northwestern coming in at 19th with a 45-9 record. UC Irvine 39-13. They dropped from 12 back to 20. Tennessee Volunteers dropped back 4 spots from 17 to 21. NC State at 22. Alabama at 23 with a 40-15 record. Previous ranking 18. TCU and Kansas round out your top 25 at number 24 and number 25 after not being ranked last week. As David said, those conference tournaments get underway. Several of them get underway tonight. A few more today, I should say. I think they're actually going on as we speak. I can look that up, but we got about another minute. Let me see if I can see who's playing conference baseball.
Oh, for the SEC?
Yeah, because I think they're playing right now, right?
Yeah, they should be anyways. They should have started. They've got 4 games today, so I have the bracket printed out.
Ooh, print it out. I got it right here.
All right, cool. I know Alabama. I think Alabama might play in the first game. They've got Missouri.
Okay.
Then you'll have, who is it? Kentucky and South Carolina are playing. I don't know if they're playing against each other.
I thought I had it, but
the winner of them will play Ole Miss.
Into basketball, unfortunately.
Here, how about we do this? Let's go ahead and take a break.
We get back. Yeah, absolutely. I got some more NFL news to talk about, and of course, reminding everybody of the big game coming tonight for the North Bay Haven Lady Bucks. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Losing to Michigan, you're on the hot seat.
Did you see his face after that loss? I thought he was going to drop dead of a heart attack. Yeah, his face was red. There was some demon that took over his body and made the words come out. Demons come out. Your quarterback said that.
On national TV.
On national TV.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right. She has over 20 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within a week, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into a new setting and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 50 years.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team. Northwest Florida Wrestling presents live professional wrestling at the Possum Palace. Saturday, June 7th in Wausau. Exciting men's and women's wrestling with a huge 20-man Royal Rumble. Doors open at 4. Matches start at 5 at the Possum Palace. Front row tickets $15. General admission $12. Kids 5 and under free. All proceeds go to medical expenses for Chase Henson. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the air.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the Atlanta Braves. Several Atlanta Braves games coming up. Maybe cutting the afternoon underdogs off a little bit short.
Yeah, next
3 days.
Next 3 days, yeah, 5:45 pitch times for that. And then I think we have some next week as well, but big series coming up.
Yeah, big series indeed against the NL East foe, the Washington Nationals there. Braves finally got to over 5. They got to 500 and then broke the over 500, and hopefully they can continue it on. As David said, they'll be at the Washington Nationals the next 3 days. First pitch, 5:45, all 3 days. Getting back to that SEC baseball tournament, which one game is officially over, and the number 9 seeded Alabama Crimson Tide won that one 4-1 over the Missouri Tigers. So Alabama moves on in the bracket. They will face the Tennessee Volunteers. That's coming up tomorrow. That'll be 9:30 a.m. here in the Central Time Zone, 10:30 in the Eastern Time Zone as well. A couple more games coming up today in the opening round of the SEC baseball tournament. Starting as our show finishes up right at 1 p.m., you'll have Kentucky versus Oklahoma. Winner of that game will go on to face
Ole Miss.
Georgia.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Georgia.
Who is it then?
Florida and South Carolina, which is the game coming up at 4:30.
Gotcha.
They will. The winner of that game will take on Ole Miss, and then the nightcap. The nice thing, all these games are on the SEC network, and the 8 p.m. game tonight is number 14 seeded Texas A&M versus number 11 seeded Mississippi State. Winner of that game takes on the number 6 seed Auburns. 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow, 4 games on Thursday, 4 games on Friday. And then, of course, the championship series.
There's only going to be 2 games on Friday.
I see that, yeah. 2 games on Thursday, 2 games on Friday, and then 2 games on Saturday, followed by the championship. It looks like 2 p.m. That's our time zone coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, Alabama's already beaten Missouri 4-1, so they're taking on Tennessee.
The Volunteers get the cigars out. Who's gonna win that one?
There we go. They'll be playing at 9:30. They'll be halfway through the game before we get into it tomorrow.
Absolutely. We can keep everybody updated. Well, Max Delighted will be filling in for me tomorrow. I got to get over there to UA to see some 7th grade awards. Don't want to miss that. That is for certain. Real quick golf update. Florida State's looking really good. They've already won out of all their matches. Looks like 4 of them are in the books. One more's got a couple holes to go, and they've won 3 out of those 4. Lottie Woad beat her opponent 4-3. That means they were up 4 holes with 3 holes to play, so naturally you can't win more to tie it or come back and win. Kayla Williams won her match 5-4, and Mirabelle Ting came back in her match against Bailey Shoemaker and won that one 2-up. Sophia Fulbrook did lose to Kylie Chong 6-5, but Alexandra Gazzoli is a 1-up on her match. They might have called it because they've already mathematically won and are moving on to that would be the semifinals, which is coming up later on today. So good luck to the Florida State Seminoles as they try to make it back to the national championship final match, which will happen tomorrow. Looks like the Oregon Ducks are moving on as well, in addition to the Stanford Cardinal, as they have beat their opponent 3.5 to 1.5. 3.5 to 1.5, 3. Yeah, 3.5 to 1.5. That as to 5. Duh. And then I got a match that's tied right now. Still got to get that one situated. That's Arkansas and Northwestern. Currently both 2.5, 2.5. They'll play extra holes if need be, because you have to have a winner for the semifinal matches coming up next. Some more NFL news. We talked about the flag football action. San Francisco 49ers. First they got George Kittle extended. Then they got Brock Purdy extended. Now they got Fred Warner extended.
Yeah,
obviously,
spending that money.
One of the best. Well, they had to get rid of a lot of people to spend this money, but that's quite all right because Fred Warner, arguably the best linebacker in the league, has just agreed to a 3-year, $63 million contract extension. The deal ties Warner to the team through the 2029 season. The rework deal also returns Warner to the top of the list, the highest paid linebackers in the league at $21 million per season, and adds $56 million in guaranteed money to a deal he no longer had any guaranteed money. Sources told Adam Schefter not Sheffield.
There you go.
I'm on fire. I am on fire. And kind of, I got to give the Niners organization a little kudos when kudos is needed. Kind of refreshing to see the San Francisco 49ers get all these contracts done before the mandatory minicamp, kind of avoiding any of that drama, which we've kind of seen the last several years in the league. So kudos to the Niners for locking up Purdy, Kittle, and Warner all before the mandatory minicamps. Some other moves happened today. The Chicago Bears extended their new off-season signing, Joe Thuney, to a Thuney? It's Thuney. Thuney. Phonetics. It's tough. Joe Thuney is receiving a 2-year contract extension worth $17.5 million per year, making it $51 million for the next 3 years, with $33.5 million fully guaranteed at signing. Those Chicago Bears keep doing what they need to do to bolster up that line and protect Caleb Williams. All right, some of the things in the revised proposal to ban the tush push at this week's league meeting. It's the Green Bay Packers, kind of the ones leading this charge. But amend Rule 12, Section 1, Article 4. As follows, new language is underlined, deleted language is struck through. Article 4, assisting the runner and interlocking interference. No offensive player may pull a runner in any direction, anytime. It used to have push or pull. They took push or, and then they took, so it ends up now just saying pull a runner in any direction.
So you can't pull, but you can push.
You can't pull, but you can push. And you can't lift them to their feet.
So triceps, not biceps.
Triceps, not biceps. Absolutely. As triceps are important. Don't forget about them. The original thing said push or pull a runner in any direction at any time or lift him to his feet. They just changed it to pull a runner in any direction at any time. B, use interlocking interference by grasping a teammate or using his hands and arms to encircle the body of a teammate in an effort to block an opponent. Originally it had or push or throw his body against teammates to aid him in an attempt to obstruct an opponent or recover a loose ball. They took that out too, and then they also took out assist the runner except by individually blocking opponents for him. Penalty for assisting the runner, interlocking interference, or illegal use of hands, arms, or body on the offense, a loss of 10 yards. So they kind of amended it a little bit. They say the effect prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, or assisting the runner except by individually blocking opponents for him. The reason? Player safety and pace of play. I still hope it doesn't get banned, because I think, if we've talked about this, but if you've got an advantage that you've figured out, I mean, any other team in the league can do the same thing.
Yep.
They just don't know how to execute it like Philadelphia does. So, be interesting to see if that gets over the hump. I would be surprised if it gets over the hump. Some more news with the Packers. The Packers rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden is now set to enter the season as Green Bay's highest paid pass catcher by average annual value. Their wide receiving core is so cheap, it's insane.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden, $4.39 million. Christian Watson, $2.39 million. Luke Musgrave, $2.1 million. Jaden Reed, $1.8 million. And Mecole Hardman at $1.5 million. It's also got Tucker Kraft at $1.38, Romeo Doubs at $1.09, and Dontavian Wicks at $1.03.
It's got to be one of the best wide receiver names in the NFL, Dontavian Wicks. I just like it.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue so smoothly. But yeah, I mean, they need to strike while the iron's hot, because they're not going to be able to keep that low of a wide receiver payroll for that long. But hey, when you got a lot of rookies that are having success, that's how you can make it happen with those particular situations. Interesting, getting back to those Niners, 3 guys they just extended. Purdy obviously was the last pick in the NFL draft. Fred Warner was a 3rd-round pick, and George Kittle was a 5th-round pick. So despite our massive faux pas on the Trey Lance situation, we seem to find players later in the draft, or even at the very, very end of the draft. Don't forget, coming up later on today, I think we determined it was 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. depending on
7 p.m. I think is 7 p.m. our time.
wish it would. A lot of sites will tell you in your time zone or it represents Eastern time zone. I'm going to put a petition into the FHSAA to add that to their website because this isn't Max Preps. This is the FHSAA.
Yeah.
With all.
I would imagine everything that comes out of the FHSAA would be
because it's
Eastern.
Headquartered in the Eastern, right?
Yeah.
In the
Tallahassee. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would imagine that's where its headquarters would be, and that's just assuming because of Tallahassee being the capital of Florida.
Yeah, that would make sense. But we've had some other confusion about capitals in other states on this show, so nothing's.
There's no confusion on what the capital.
We got the capital,
is.
No doubt. Hopefully not. Another local team, if almost left them out. We had.
It's actually in Gainesville, which is still Eastern time zone.
I wonder why it's in Gainesville. Probably more centrally located, unless you got a boat or a plane.
Yeah, there you go.
Do whatever you want. Want to mention that Holmes County is also playing in a state championship game coming up later on. It looks like it was already played.
What's that?
The rural baseball championship.
Yeah, I think Holmes won.
Okay, well, they didn't score it here on the FHSAA, but it says 5:15. So, congratulations to Holmes County on winning the rural state championship. Port St.
Two out of two, I think, since 2022. So,
wow,
yeah,
impressive.
Pretty daggum good.
Impressive. Holmes County beat Port St. Joe in the state semifinals to advance to that championship game, where they took on Lafayette. And doesn't have a score here, so I can't tell you what it was, but is confirmed that they did win the rural state championship. On the softball side of things, again, I think I just mentioned it. Sometimes I forget stuff I just said. Baseball, you've got South Walton playing. I think it's 3 p.m. our time if what we're talking about is holding true. You've got that coming up at 3 p.m.
Who do they take on?
Miami Springs.
And that's for it all right there. That's for
the
all
whole
the marbles.
kit and caboodle. And our predictions of them winning a state championship could come to fruition later on today. We shall
It's not
see.
a very hot take with the roster that
No.
they have
It's kind of an obvious take.
Yeah.
We've got some NHL Eastern Conference, or is it Eastern Conference tonight?
Yeah, Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference
Hurricanes.
Finals getting underway tonight. This series, I think, is going to be a fun one. Two very gritty hockey teams that sometimes play defense, and two fantastic goalies as well, Bobrovsky and Anderson. Anderson's been having a heck of a playoff series. Right now, the Hurricanes are favored by 1.5 goals, and of course, that over-under sits at 5.5.
I like low scoring tonight. I think this series ends up going 6. I think that if the Panthers haven't been playing so much hockey as of lately, that this would be a gentleman's sweep here, a 5-game series in favor of the Panthers. Now, the Hurricanes could come out and surprise me, and I could be totally wrong about this, just like everything else that we talk about on anything sports related. I will say, though, they find a way to not get it done. The Hurricanes do in the Eastern Conference Finals when they get this deep into the playoffs, and the Panthers are a team that responds very well to adversity.
No
so
doubt.
I think that's what we see. I like the Panthers in 6. I like they're playing in Florida, right?
Yep.
Tonight, so I like Florida.
No, it's in Raleigh. It's
Okay,
in
all right.
Raleigh,
So that also benefits the 6-game series. Let's see. I'll take the under in goals and the Hurricanes to win tonight.
I like it. What about the battle of the bets? This is an interesting one tonight. Jarvis, 1 or more goals, and the Panthers to score 1 or fewer. That's a tough one. Or each team to score 4 or more total goals. I would have to lean for the Jarvis situation.
Well, I guess in that situation, if I had to pick one, because I'm betting the opposite, I would take both teams to score 4 or more. Just because in my other bet, I've got the under going.
Yeah.
Right? I would take the Hurricanes and the under, so.
Absolutely.
I think, what's it, 5.5? So I think 3-1 tonight, Hurricanes. Empty netter late.
Ooh, empty netter late. I like that. It feels like it can come to fruition. Watch it be the opposite of what we're saying.
It will
and
be.
Just be like a 6-5 kind of game. Over there on the NBA side of things, do you believe what Doc's saying with the Thunder beating them by more than 7?
I definitely believe what a fantasy sports writer that's in the Hall of Fame says.
True story.
Yeah, I like. Wait, Thunder beat the Timberwolves?
That's what he
By
said.
more than 7?
Yeah, the line on
I like a
-7.
gentleman's sweep in that series.
Yeah.
is a required monthly test of the emergency alert system. Had this been an actual emergency or dangerous situation, official messages and directions would have followed the alert tones. This test is brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and your local broadcast station or cable provider. This concludes the required monthly test.
Northwest Florida has the most college and local sports anywhere on